RotoGrinders. Welcome to the DFS pregame show here on RotoGrinders. I'm Jordan Cooper, a.k.a. Blender at Blender HD, if you want to follow me on Twitter. And it's Thursday, July 28th, and we're getting to the end. We're getting close to NFL preseason. We're getting close. We're getting there. It's almost happening. We got a big UFC card pay-per-view coming up on Saturday. I will not be around to see it, nor am I going to be doing the Ground and Pound podcast, but Mike and Liam will have you covered for that. Get RotoGrinders Premium, and you could listen to that. They'll break down all the fights, give you the expert survey, give you the rundown, and everything for that. I will not be here tomorrow. There will be no show tomorrow. No show Monday as well. I'll be away for the entire weekend. So programming note right there. Good morning to everyone in the chat. Wataz, Beatbaz, Suki Singh, all the early people. The early people are here. Give me those thumbs ups. You know how much I love the thumbs when you get in the door, and hit that subscribe button. Especially if you're new here, hit the notification bell to know when we go live. We got tons of content here. We got a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 game slate tonight. So Grinders Live will have you covered for that, and Crunch Time right after that. We got some weather stuff going on possibly, and I took a look at the weather report. Right, Roth's weather report, which is free. Just go to rotogrinders.com/weather. Right, you could figure that out. But he gives the on Crunch Time, he gives like the radar updates, like if it's close. So we got the New York game, Boston game, orange, yellow. So they'll update you later in the day. A lot of people reached out about the show that I did on Tuesday, explaining kind of like what's the bare minimum that you need on these daily fantasy prop betting type of sites. And some people said, oh, I'm going to bookmark that, right? Some people like, oh, I'm thank you for explaining how kind of everything works for there. And can you find profitable opportunities on those types of sites? I believe you can, but it's probably few and far between. I ended up because I was talking about it. I'm never going to not put my money where my mouth is. I said, why not? Hey, if I'm saying, let's take a look, maybe see, right? Can we find these 57.8% implied probability lines that are off and be able to plug them in together? Is it going to be possibly profitable? I don't know how much money you can get down on it, right? At least you don't get limited or anything. I don't think so on sites like that. So I wanted to see if I could try it. I actually made money. I did. It took me a grand total of 10 minutes to just look through, and I found I did a total bases 3-leg thing between what I got Vogelbach, Fortes, and Gorman, right? Fortes and Gorman hit home runs, and Vogelbach had a hit. So that was a nice little payout, 5x payout on a 3-leg one. And you know how I did it? I did it by using the base the bat projections, right? You could use a top-down approach or a bottom-up approach. I talked about this on Tuesday, okay? All of this comes into understanding probabilities. All you're doing on sites like Prize Picks, all you're doing in sports betting in general is what is the actual probability of it happening, and then what is what they're giving you. Like, are you getting paid out more than the actual probability of it happening, right? Now, sports books and sites like this are pretty smart, and they make decent enough lines. A lot of times they copy off of each other. So a top-down approach would be an approach where you're not handicapping anything. You're not originating a number. If I look at a strikeout prop, Zach Wheeler 6.5, I'm not coming up with whether or not what's the right number. I don't know what the right number is. A top-down approach involves using the market against each other. So, for instance, if we were going to try to, find inefficient lines on Prize Picks to make our little daily card or whatever, little parlays, at least 2. I mean, that's the main detriment of this, is that they can only pay you 2-1 on a 2-pick, and they pay you 5-1 on a 3-pick. So it's fixed odds. So you have to find the ones that are off enough. They have to be off enough by at least 15%. So they have to be like minus 135, minus 137. So about 57.5, 57.8% implied probability versus what they're giving you. for that to be profitable to play, to break even at that point. So what would a top-down approach be? Okay, a top-down approach would be to just go to the betting market and see. We're looking for bets that are minus 135 or better. So I could just go to Scores and Odds right now, which is a sister site of RotoGrinders, and go look. And here we have the strikeout props right here. So I'm just going to look down. I'm going to look, where's the best price of minus 135 or better? Okay, here we have Alex Wood. Over 5.5 on DraftKings is minus 145. So if that's the best price in the market, synthetically, if Alex Wood on Prize Picks has a 5.5 prop, then that would be the equivalent of a minus 145 bet. So we're going to go over to Prize Picks, look at Alex Wood, and so, oops, something went wrong. Let's go to Alex Wood 6. Okay, so no, that's not 5.5. So we would look. You could do this in the morning, even if you don't want to originate, right? Originating means coming up with your own number. So you can look through, and you just look through. It's like, okay, Kikuchi, Gilbert, I already looked at these, right? So you're just looking for what does the market currently have elsewhere, and where could it be off? Like we have Spencer Howard under 4.5 at PointsBet is minus 134. So what does Prize Picks has? So we're looking from around that level or more. So if Prize Picks has Howard at 4.5, the under would be the consideration of a minus 134 bet. So let's take a look at Howard. And let's see if he's at 4.5. No, 4. Okay, so you're not getting that, right? Because 4.5, this would be a minus 135 on the under over here. So this would be considered a top-down approach where you don't even need to know the sport in order to be profitable in. Of course, the problem is finding lines that are inefficient. Understand that a site like Prize Picks is probably also looking at the market as well, right? So most likely they're not going to have, maybe early in the morning, maybe overnight, possibly. They're probably not going to have ones that, remember, it's not just like, oh, okay, well, this one is minus 115 on Jordan Lyles. It's like, no, in order to be profitable on Prize Picks, you need to scale together bets that end up with a minus like 137 total for all of your picks combined. Okay, so in order to do that, you need an average of a minus 137. So using bets that here, Graham Ashcroft, 4.5, right? 4.5. Let's see. Do we have Prize Picks? 4.5 on Ashcroft. 4. So no, it's not the same line. So this is what you could do in the morning. You could do this before you build DFS lineups or anything like that. You're obviously most likely going to get the most inefficient lines early, and there may not be any. I mean, like this is the type of thing. Like this is in baseball. Obviously, you have all these other sports as well. But you could go through all of these because, like, some of these are like earn runs allowed for a pitcher. Well, we have that on Scores and Odds as well. Like we go to earn runs allowed. And from a top-down approach, you just take a look at the best lines. Like Urena minus 140 at 3.5. So what does Prize Picks have for Urena? Does it have 3.5? Does it have it at all? 3.5. Okay, so this isn't from a top-down approach. Urena's at 3.5. On Scores and Odds right now, the best in the market is minus 140 at BetMGM. So if we consider the market to be efficient, I'm not saying that it is, but if we're using the efficient market hypothesis, the best odds, right? Synthetically, we're getting a minus 140 bet on Urena over 3.5 earned runs. So if MGM is putting up that line, essentially, this right here is a minus 140 bet on the over. Okay, so we're going to put that down as a plus EV bet, right? So I'm going to write that down because then we'll figure out how to over 3.5 minus 140. Because if we use the betting calculator. What's minus 140? There's an implied odds of 58.33. Right, we're looking for over. It's barely profitable, but it is profitable. 58.33. So we'll put that down. 58.33%. Okay. We're not because we still have to piece it together with other bets as well, with other, to put our card together. So we'll see the best way of doing that in a little bit. Okay? So this is just using the top-down approach. Like, we're not, I don't know what the right number is for Urena. How many, do I think he's going over? Do I think he's going under? I have no idea. All I know is that the market right now, the best number is minus 140. And so PrizePicks is giving me a minus 140. So I could look down on earned runs allowed and go, okay, Jordan Lyles under 3.5. Does PrizePicks have Lyles for under 3.5? It has to be 3.5, not 3. They don't even have it. Okay. They're very picky on what they put in. So we could just go through scores and odds and go, okay, how about Tyler Anderson under 3.5? And that's a 3. No, so that's not good enough. Because once you move the half a point, then it becomes like a minus 110 bet. Okay. So over 2.5 for Logan Gilbert. Let's see. What do they have here? Let's go the other way around. Okay, let's Castano 2.5. Do we have that on scores and odds? Castano 2.5. Okay, no, that would be a minus 121. Best in market would be a minus 121 bet. Right? Spencer Howard 2.5. No, we don't get that. Justin Steele under. Tyon under 2.5. Do we get 2.5s on either of those? Now we get 2 over here. No, I don't think we got that at all. Right? Spencer Howard 2.5. Right. Spencer Howard here is at 2.5. Best in market on Spencer Howard is minus 120. So no, we need to find minus 135 or above about. So this is how you could do it. I mean, the scores and odds, like this screen, like it's free. You could just go to scoresandodds.com, MLB/props or whatever, and you could do it this way, right? And you could check this multiple times a day if you want, because the market will move a bit. But obviously, as this market moves, the PrizePicks number will probably move. But this would be considered the top-down approach, right? You're using the market. You're not originating your own number and then comparing it to the market. You're just using the market against each other. Now, the general way when I use the sports bet, I can't do it legally in Kentucky now. I mean, other than sites like PrizePicks, I was a top-down person. So basically, I didn't matter. It's very similar to DFS, right? Bet whatever you want, play whoever you want. Doesn't matter to me. As long as I have the right price, I don't even need to know anything about the sport or nothing. All I'm doing is looking for market inefficiencies. And especially if you could track market movement, you could probably middle, you could arbitrage. You could end up, essentially getting free money from the market. That's the way that I handle sports betting, not originating anything. But if you wanted to originate, well, like I have the bat projections, right, which is offered here at RotoGrinders. And the bat projections have statistical broken down projections. So this would be the bottom up approach, that you're generating a number, right? It doesn't necessarily mean you, but you're getting, a model that generates statistical projections. And then you're comparing that to the market, to the line that you're currently getting. So if we go to strikeout props now for pitchers, right? And we're looking through. So Castano at 3. So we're looking for numbers that they have to be at least 15% off, right? So if Castano in the bat has a 3.2 projection, like that's not 15% off. We would need what? We would need at least a number that is like 3.45 or 2.55, like 15% off of that 3 for it to be at least break even at that point. So Castano is 3. So now I could go to the back projections. I could look at Castano, 3.26. It doesn't meet that threshold. If we consider the mean number of 3.26, that means 3 is about like maybe a minus 112 type of line on the over, right? We need something that's about 15% off. So Castano, even though like more than half the time, right, 3.26 is higher than 3. So it'd be like, individually, if that was a plus 100 bet on the over, or even a minus 110 on the over, it'd be slightly plus EV. On that, if you could only bet that, right? If you can only just play that, that's fine. You could do that with props. But remember, on PrizePicks, you have to pair 2 together, and you're getting fixed odds on a parlay, right? It doesn't matter what you're piecing together. So you need to piece together so you get minus 137. Because their 2s and 3 picks cards pay out at that range. So in order to break even, you need to find a total of, that equals plus 200 or a plus 500 or plus 400, right? Because they say pay. It's really 2 to 1 and 4 to 1. Okay, so you could go through here and you go, okay, how about Ashcroft at 4? We go to Ashcroft at 4. Ashcroft is at 4.12. So that isn't 15. That isn't at least 15% off. Jordan Lyles, 4.5. Let's take a look at Jordan Lyles. Oh, that's actually higher. Okay. Jordan Lyles, 5.26, 5.36. So what would 15% of 4.5 be? About what? 4.5. Well, we got 0.45 would be 10%. Plus another, 27 or something like that. So that would be what? Just 0.72. Okay. So in either direction. So 4.5. So this would be slightly. This would be slightly plus EV. Slightly. 5.36 on the over. Be slightly. I consider this like a minus, probably a minus one, maybe like minus 142 or something like that type of line. 5.36. So we'll add that. Okay, Jordan Lyles strikeouts. So we'll add that to our little thing. Lyles. This is over 3.5 earned runs. Lyles over 4.5. K is like a minus 142 bet. What's a minus 142 bet? We go here. Minus 142 is 58.68. Using the little calculators, just so I could show you. 58.68%. Okay, so we'll put that down. Okay, we haven't made a card yet or anything. Singer, 4.5. Now, if you subscribe to the bat or you have statistical projections, this is what you do. You compare the numbers together. Singer, 4.39, so that's not good enough. Tyon, 5. Wheeler, 6.5. Let's speed through some of these. Tyon, 5. Wheeler, 6.5. Wheeler's under. And what was the other one? Tyon, 5.25. So no, but Wheeler's 6.5. The bat has him at 5.67. Okay, so what's 15% of 6.5? Right? So just do it bluntly. 6.5, that's about what? 6.5 times 0.15 is about 0.975 in either direction. What, 0.97? So like 5.5 range. So 5.67, even though it's like, wow, that's like almost a full K under, is really, that's this bet right here, this line right here on the under would be like minus 126 or something like that. Minus 127, 130, maybe minus 130. So still not enough. Remember, we have to get to like minus 135, minus 137 for it to be profitable to put into any of these pick type of parlays. Okay, so individually, if Prize Picks allowed me to just go, I'd like to put $100 on the under on here, then you go, why not? If I'm going to get even money, right, like that, right, that'd be great. But you can't. You have to piece it together. Let's see, Kikuchi at 5. We'll go through. Kikuchi at 5, 5.88. Okay, so what's 15% of 5? Okay, that's like about 0.75. So this is slightly profitable. 5.88. Okay, we'll grade it at 5.88 is like maybe minus 140, minus 144, maybe minus 142, something like that. So Kikuchi at 5.88. So we'll put that down. Kikuchi's over based on the bat projections. So we'll have this Kikuchi over 5.5, over 5.5 K. Well, that's at like I would say minus 140, 42, right? 58.68 implied probability. Okay. We go through. We can look through. McKenzie 5.5. We can go to other things as well. Let's see. McKenzie 5.5. 4.75. So what's 15% of 5.5? a little over 3/4 or something. So this is underneath the threshold. Right. I'm just doing it bluntly, right? So around 15%. It has to be around 15% off. Cutter Crawford at 4, Gilbert at 5. Let's take a look at the back projections. Crawford at 4, 3.84. No. Gilbert at 5, 4.78. So that's not good either. Let's take a look at Ohtani, 8.5. What does he have? 7.98. So that's not off by enough. Urquidy, 4.5. Let's see. 4.6. So that's not off enough. Tyler Anderson, 4. Urena, 3. Tyler Anderson, 4. 3.37. That's about break even. Urena, 3. 2.22. Okay. So that's actually what? That's a bit positive, right? If Urena is at 3, right? Under 3, so 15% would be 0.45. So this would actually be good. This actually would be under 3 would be like a minus 155 or something like that. Minus 153 or something. Somewhere around there. So let me do the under 3. So I'm going to put that. And also, that's also kind of correlated to there. Urena. Under 3.0. Okay. That's like minus, I would say minus 1. That's about minus 145. Or maybe minus 147. So what's the probability of minus 147? Just so we could put it in. 5951. Okay, implied probability there. 5951. Now you could do this not just with pitchers or anything like that. You could go through. I mean, look, we have earn run. We have those earn runs allowed. We looked through before, right? We looked through before. Remember, we have Urena compared to the market, right? That was the one. That was the top down one that we saw, right? Over 3.5 earn runs. Well, what does the bat have it at? If you go to the earn runs column, Urena 3.45, right? So actually, the under, based on our origination, is actually a bad bet. Based on our own origination, but based on the market, is fine. Right? So you could decide. If you're doing a top down, this could still be profitable. Is the market right, or is the bat closer to correct? If you just go by the bat, this may not be the best line. It may not be minus 140. Based on the bat, over 3.5 would actually be a plus money, would be like plus 102 or something like that. So maybe we decide to get rid of this because it's so dramatically different than the market. If this was close enough, that would be different. But if I'm not gonna degrade Urena over 3.5 earned runs at minus 140 at a 58% implied probability when the bat has it at a plus 102. Right. So I'm gonna get rid of this. Right. There's enough difference. You go through the earn. You could go through all of these. Right. Earn runs allowed. Right. Castano 2.5. Take a look. Castano 3.19. So what's 15% of 2.5? 5 times 0.1. 1 times 1.5. So 2.87 would be 15%. So Castano with 3.19 earn runs. Seems like a good, that's like maybe a minus 150. Minus 150er. Castano. Let's put that down. Castano over 2.5 earn runs. Castano over 2.5 earn runs. Minus 150, which is 60%. Right? We found that. Okay, we could go through it. We could do this. Let's see. Can we find ones that are semi-correlated to the ones that we already have? So let's take a look at Lyles, Kikuchi, and Urena. Right? Well, Urena we already went through. Lyles, Kikuchi, do they have those up? No, they don't. Okay. So let's move on because you could go through all of these. I'm not going to simply just do this the entire show. Right? You can do it yourself. Obviously, it's much quicker if you have two screens or whatever, you're just comparing them to each other. You can do this much quicker than me talking through it, right? We also have pitches thrown, right? You can go through walks allowed, right? Pitches thrown, right? We even have that in the bat, right? Projected pitch count, right? If we go to let's go to the bat. The bat, we have projected pitch count, right? So we could even do this. Is anything going to be 15% off in this? It's going to be pretty tough, right? I'll see. Let's see. Something would have to be dramatically off. Let's see. Cutter Crawford, 87.5. Let's see. What do we have for Crawford? I'm looking for the low numbers. Yeah, 80. Do they have a Spencer Howard? Some of the lower ones. Yeah, it's going to be very rare that any of these are going to be that far off. Right now, yeah. Spencer Howard, 85.5. Spencer Howard, 78. So yeah. It would have to be one of those things where there's some pitch limit thing and Prize Picks never found out about. Okay. You could also do this with hitters, remember, also. So let's say we could go to the pitcher fantasy score. They use a FanDuel score. So you could use the FanDuel projections, right? I have the FanDuel projections up here, and just compare the projections because it uses the exact FanDuel score. So we could go through and do that, right? Let's see if we got anything any of these. Lyles, Kikuchi, Urena, Castano. Let's see if we got any of those. Okay, Lyles 25.5. Lyles 28. Yeah, that's not going to be enough for that's not 15% off. Okay, so what else we got? Lyles, Kikuchi. Let's see, Kikuchi we have at 32 in the bat, and Kikuchi isn't even available. Okay, Urena, is Urena even available? Let's see. No. What else have we got? Castano, is Castano even available? No, we don't even have that. So we can't even pair these things together. Right? Because you'll be able to. You couldn't do it in a 2, but you can do it in a 3. So for instance, like if we could find, like if Lyles over 4K was a minus 135 or better bet, and we also found the Lyles over fantasy points, like those are correlated to each other. Right? There's some amount of correlation between Lyles throwing at least 5 strikeouts and scoring at least X amount of points if that number was off. So putting them together. Now, you couldn't do both of them and have a 2-pick because they force you to have it has to be someone from a different game. You also can't play batters against your pitchers, right? You can't say, over Castano over 2.5 earned runs and then play the hitter for more hits from the opposite side of the game. They won't allow you to. That correlation is too strong, so they don't let you to do that. They still let you throw some little correlations in. So that's something that you could look for. Of like once you find 1+ EV bet, for your card, find something that's correlated to that play. But you need to have that other one also be off by at least 15% also. Remember, you're getting fixed odds for a parlay. So it doesn't. So in combination, it has to be a total of minus 137 or better for your 2-pick or your 3-pick to be break even at that point. You want it to be higher than that in order to be profitable. So you go through. You could go through and do all of this. You go total home runs. We always have these. Here, look. Oh, you have these total home runs. Well, how do you calculate this? Okay. Well, you could go to the bat, right? Obviously, you could do the top-down approach for this also. So let's say we're going to do the top-down approach for home runs. And they combine people together on the same team, essentially. Right? So I could go to Scores and Odds. I could go to the home run props. You go to scoresandodds.com for free. Remember, you could look at all this for nothing, right? And look at the best odds available for let's say let's do the first one. Okay, Judge Rizzo LeMahieu. Okay, Judge Rizzo LeMahieu. So the top-down approach would be to go to Judge plus 215. Okay, so what's plus 215? You could put that right into the betting odds, plus 215. 31.75. Okay, so I have all these little calculators app. 31.75 for the first one. Okay, we need Rizzo and LeMahieu. What's the best? Okay, here's Rizzo. Plus 350. So what's plus 350? Plus 350 implied probability is 22.22. Put that in. 22.22. Then we have LeMahieu. Go to LeMahieu, wherever he is. You could search on the page. Let's see. LeMahieu. Plus 900 is the best line. That's not that good. Right? Plus 900. So what would plus 900 be? I could tell you, right? 10%, right? Easy. That's an easy one. That's an easy one to calculate. So you put it in. The odds of these three events occurring, at least one occurring, is 52%. Right? A 31, based on the market that we have. Remember, we're not originating anything. This is the top-down approach. Just looking at the market. What are the best odds on the market? For Judge, Rizzo, LeMahieu. These are the implied probabilities. The probability of at least one happening, which is P, here's the formula, right? But I don't want to show you poor formulas. I want you to be able to do it without having to do any fancy math yourself. You just plug these things into little calculators. So 52.22, okay? So that's not enough. Remember, we need 57.8, 57 point, something like that, right? Because we go back to the betting odds calculator. If we put an implied odds of 52.22, that's the equivalent of a minus 109 bet. So essentially, this box right here is a minus 109 for the over, and it would be plus 109 for the under, right? So you could calculate all of these together like that using a top-down approach by just using what's the best lines that are available right now and see if they're off by at least 15%. Or you can do the top-down approach. Top-down, we could do it this way, right? We go to hitters in the bat projections. Go to hitters in the bat projections. Go over to the home run column, right? Treat that as a probability, right? I could just sort by team and go just by the New York Yankees, right? And here we could just do it right here. 26, 23, and 5. Okay, so it's probably even worse. 26, 23, and 5. So we go back to the probability. 26, 23, and 5. Okay? Probability of at least one occurring is 45.8. None of them occurring is 54. Because remember, you could bet the under as well. Now, but we're looking for like 50. Remember, we need like 57.5. So this is not good enough, right? 26, 23, and 5 is not giving you minus 135, minus 137 or better on either side. So you could do this for either, like Hoskins, Schwarber, Castellanos. You could do this for all of these. So let's see. Hoskins, Schwarber, Castellanos. Guerrero, Springer, Teoscar. Let's see. What you go through the Phillies, right? Go to Philadelphia. Schwarber, 28, 22, 16. So we'll put that together. 28, 22, 16. 28, 22, 16. At least one occurring, 52.8. So no, that's not good enough, right? On either side. So that's not good enough. Let's go to Guerrero, Springer, Hernandez. We go there. We go. I have all these tabs open. Let's go to the bat. We go to Toronto. Right. This isn't 26, 22, 21. Once you get used to these, you'll know whether or not it's 20. Whoa, okay. Hello. Get out of here. 26, 22, 21. Okay. 54.4%. So yes, if you just were to play this. So what's 54.4? We go to the 54.4. 50.44. Minus 119 or so. Essentially, the over here, this is a minus 119 for the over and a plus 119 and the opposite for the under. That's technically what this box means. Okay? So for you to bet on the under would be, put the under on a card on a fixed parlay would be awful. But still, minus 119 doesn't sack, the rake is too high for you to for you to profit off of that by putting it in at 2-pick or a 3-pick. That's the main key. This is a minus. This over has the probability, right? We have the probability based on the bet of coming up, 54% of the time. So I should put it in, right? Because but you're not getting even money. Essentially, you get these bets are like minus 135 bets, no matter what you do. Under, over, doesn't matter. Because once you combine these two together, you're getting fixed odds of 2-1 or 4-1. So that's what you should be doing. If you want to go in the morning and you could do this, you could do this all day. You could do top down, you could do bottom up. You find the right ones, you should be profitable. So we could go to total on runs, hitter fantasy score. They have a slightly different scoring system for hitters, so it's harder to you have to convert the scores from the bat or whatever projection source you're using. Here's total bases. That's what I was using yesterday. The total bases ones. I think some of these could easily be off. Right? Especially the ones with the half. Right? So some of these total bases we could go. So I'll go to the hitters. All. I want to look at the ones that are the most off, possibly. So I'm looking for the highest ones possible, right? So Freeman, 2.4. Let's see. Well, I probably have to search. Nope, there's nothing there for Freeman. Mookie Betts, it looks like the Dodgers. Betts and Turner. Do we have Betts and Turner? Total home runs. We don't have the total bases, right? Because they're very high. Trey Turner, right. Obviously, the ones that are the highest that one are not going to give you 1.5. Right? You're looking here. Brandon Lowe, Vlad Guerrero. Let's see. Brandon, because if it's 1.5, what's 15% of 1.5? These should be profitable. Lowe and Guerrero. Let's see. Do we get Lowe and Guerrero? Brandon Lowe. 1.5. This should be fine. This starts soon, right? Does this game start? It starts in 57 minutes. Okay. Guerrero. This should be fine. Total bases 1.5. So we could put that down. We can put that down on our little sheet. Don't even have. I mean, we could. You have to price these a little bit differently. Yeah. So like, that would be an advanced class because the median of this is slightly different than the mean. So you have to price them slightly differently. So yeah, some total bases a little bit more advanced. So instead of putting them down and having to calculate that, let's not worry about that for now. You can go through it. This is what you'd be doing. What's so complicated about this, right? Doesn't seem that complicated at all. So now let's say we have our bets, right? We have here are the most plus EV things that we could find. Okay. Well, I'll just make a 4-pack. Well, you can. Well, if you were to make, let's say, a 3-pack of this, let's just say the three highest ones. Let's just say minus 142, minus 147, minus 150. So if we're going to look here, right, we're going to look at if we put them all together, 58.68. Right, let's see. Come on. 58.68. 59.51. 59.51 and 60. Right? At least one occurring. Right, we need all three. 20.95. Okay, so that's the actual probability of it happening. Right, so we're going to get that. All right, I have all this stuff open. So here's the actual all three occurring of those 3 bets. Okay, what are we going to get on this? So if we put this in, so which ones? We're putting in the Kikuchi, Urena, Castano. Kikuchi over 5. Did this? I don't know. I think this may have moved. Over 5. Urena under 3K. Urena. Urena's gone. Did they pull the line down? They changed? Okay, so this is what you got to get them quick, I guess. Okay, so we can get rid of that. Let's look at the Lyles over 4.5. They'll move on you right as you do it. Right, Lyles 4.5. Let's see. Oh no, this is hits allowed, strikeouts. Okay, here we go. 4.5 over. Okay. So the Urena one is gone actually. So now we have to put another 50. We have to change these odds. Where is this? 58.68 about. Okay. 20.66. And then let's see. What's the last one? So Castano over 2.5 earned runs. Castano over 2.5 earned runs. Okay. So if you were to bet, let's just say you bet 100, just to make it easy for the calculators. Okay. 100 to win 225. Let's see. Over. Okay. This is a 3-pack. So you put them together. Oh, okay. Because I didn't do the. Okay, that's why it didn't come out right. Over, and then we do the power play, right? 5x. I was wondering. It's like why it shouldn't be that. So 100 to win 500. So basically, you're getting 5 to 1 or 4 to 1 technically. You're not winning 500. You're getting paid 500. Okay. So really, this is a plus. This is a plus 400. So now we're going to go to the Kelly calculator. Okay. So the sportsbook odds are giving you 400. The probability based on our bottom up approach was 20 point that the odds of all of that coming through is 20.660054, right? We put that in. So we put all three cards, right? All three things in 58.68, 60. To get all three occurring is 20.660054, whatever. Right? So let's say we had $100 betting account balance. And we did, standard Kelly, right? The expected value of this wager is about 3 cents, which equates to a 3.33 return on the funds wager. So basically, this has a 3.3% edge. Based on account balance equates to a wager of about 0.83 cents, right? It's not that great, right? So this shows you how much you need to find odds that are way off. So let's say we put two together. Let's say we just take one of these. 58.68, 58.68, and a 60. One of the 60s. Probability is 35.208. On Prize Picks, we take out one of these, right? The Castano one we're leaving. The Kikuchi one, the Lyles one, we'll take out the Lyles one, right? So pays out plus 200. So we go here, plus 200. Probability of winning is 35.208. Calculate. Okay, the expected value of this wager is approximately 16 cents, which equates to a 5.68 return on the funds wager. So according to the Kelly criterion, you should place a wager of approximately 2.81% of your account balance on this selection, or whatever your bankroll is. This is how you determine this. I mean, welcome to this is sports betting. This is Prize Picks or whatever. This is how to figure it out. Right? I showed you a bunch of this on Tuesday, but now I'm just going to giving you the application of exactly what you would do. Imagine finding the third bet. Like what I would suggest is that you do twos, right? You find as many off lines as possible. So maybe you have a sheet and maybe you find 5, 6, 7, and you do twos. Okay. And the only time that you do a 3 is if it's related to one of the twos, right? If you could get like an over strikeout plus an over fantasy score, they'll allow you to do that. If you get a total bases plus one of those home run props that are semi-correlated, like then put that in as the third one, like that. And then let's say, for instance, we have these 3. Like instead of putting all 3 together, I just round robin them together to get the twos. So Lyles Kikuchi, Lyles Castano, Kikuchi Castano. I believe you could do that up to a certain dollar amount. You could put them together like that. You don't want to start building these 4, 5. Once you start building the cards out higher, you're going to need much higher odds because they're not going to pay you enough. Like the 5 ones are probably not worth it. Right? So you want to keep it to the 2s as much as possible, functionally. And find lines that are off. And that's the key. It's not that they're off. They need to be off significantly based on either your top-down approach, based on the market, or your bottom-up approach, based on some origination model. Understand that the origination model is more likely to show the lines are off than the market ones. Why? Because a site like Prize Picks can see the market, right? If like the people at Prize Picks are looking around and they're going through and going, yeah, the strikeout prop here is -1, is a strikeout off. They're going to change it on their site. That's why I think that Urena one they took off the board. Right? We missed it. We missed the Urena one. Has Prize Picks changed their rules? You used to not be able to play multiple of the same player or more than 2 batters from the same team. As long as no, you can't use 2 batters from the same team. But you could use 2. They have to be 2 different types of props. Like if, for instance, like let's see, where's the total home runs? Like if you get total, like here, Judge Rizzo, like you could play the Yankees like under, and then the Judge total bases under with it together. Not in a 2-pick. Remember, you can't do it in a 2-pick. You have to do it in a 3-pick. Right? You have to have two different teams need to be in your card. So as a 2-pick, you're absolutely right. You can't do that. As a 3-pick, you can. Right? You can't total bases like on 2 batters that you can't do that, but you could do total bases plus hits plus walks. Plus, you could do 2 of those, but you still need a third thing in there. That's the point that I'm making. So you can't do 2 picks like that. You could do 3 picks like that. Because I was doing that yesterday. I was putting them together, and it didn't stop me. I think it has to be dependent, like 2 different types. So you could use like runs plus RBIs on Whit Merrifield over, and then also like the home run, whatever, with the combined everything over. It's stuff like that. I can't do Whit Merrifield runs and RBIs with the total bases. Like that, yeah, I can understand that. But I could do runs and RBIs, Merrifield, total bases on another Royals player. Now, the 2-pick, I can't because it's 2 Royals. 3-pick, once I had a third, and I could add a third of, a strikeout prop from whoever, someone completely random. That would be fine. So that's why I said stick to the 2 picks and only add the third when there's something that has some amount of correlation. They're not going to give you the big correlations. They do not allow you to do that. They do not allow you to have the over Castano over 2.5 earned runs and then the batters for over on total bases. Like that correlation is extremely high. So they're not going to allow you to do that. But once you write out, just wheel them together. Right? How much total, you could use Kelly to determine how often the 2 picks win, and then divide that 1 Kelly number, if you're even playing full Kelly, and then divide it over the number of bets you need for your wheel. So let's say, you could have, let's say you find 8 of these. Like you could make, $10 combinations, $5 combinations of all of them. Like, because really you're just trying to, if you had the choice, You'd rather get paid even money for one of these, but that's sports betting. That's not Prize Picks. You need to put two together, and with fixed payout odds on the 2 picks, 3 picks, whatever, that means you need to find two that are off. If you're going to go on a normal sports book, you could see if Lyle's over 4.5K is minus 142, right? And there's a book that has over 4.5Ks at minus 110. Like then you just place a bet on the minus 110 line, right? Minus 110 is 50, 52% or 51 whatever percent. The actual probability based on your origination is 58.68%. What's the EV of that? The difference in between. No, I don't think you can find anything that's going to be that off between the sports books. But you can. But that's sports betting. That's not Prize Picks. But people were asking after the Tuesday show about like how can I go through and do this? You could do this in the morning. Will there be a lot of things that are off? No, that's the point. Like finding the things that are off enough is not. I'm not saying it's not easy, but could be time consuming. Like because they're using market prices as it is. They're looking around and using sports book lines elsewhere together. And then if too many people start hitting the same things, then they start taking them off the board. They move the number. Right? But this is a way, you could put things together. Put 2 picks, 2 picks, 2 picks. If you're getting tired of traditional daily fantasy sports, you could try this out. But like I said, you have to be really careful. Right? If you start going by your own intuition and I think this is going to happen, you may be picking lines that are technically plus 125. You're putting 2 plus 125 lines together, and then you're getting paid really. Now they're taking half your money. Right? You don't want to do that, right? I would say 98% or more of the picks that you could make on this site are negative EV. 98%. Okay? So you need to find the 2% that are. That's your goal. I'm not saying you're going to be able to, but something. When NFL comes around, you have all these other sports. I mean, you could do the top-down approach for anything. WNBA. I don't know anything about WNBA. It's like, well, are there other markets that are outside of Prize Picks that have lines on these? Well, let's see if any of them are off synthetically, and then do it that way. You could probably make a little bit of money. Can you make a lot of money doing this? Probably not. Not on Prize Picks. I don't think so. Not even on props in general. So the main thing about Prize Picks is that I don't think they limit you. I mean, there's a max bet. I mean, that you can't put down $5,000 on any of this. I don't think so, at least. As far as I know. So like prop betting is not like something, I can make $1 million. You can't. The markets aren't as liquid. And if you could put down that much money, like they'd limit you're going to be limited to $10 at some point if you beat them too often, right? That's why the age-old thing. If you see people getting $10,000 down on a prop or $50,000 down on a prop, that means they're losing sports bettors, or it's completely for marketing purposes. There's no normal human being could get that much money down. Someone's taking a $2 million bet on anything, most likely they're a losing bettor. Because the sportsbooks wouldn't allow sharp bettors to bet that, have limits of that extent. So that's kind of like a paradox there. So yeah, so just going over this again because people seemed interested, because I never mentioned this before. I'm not saying this is great. This is, if you want, this is, to me, I view something like Prize Picks as like a supplemental thing. Obviously, if you want to do it for entertainment, do whatever the hell you want for entertainment. But if you want to make a like little supplemental 2% here and there or whatever, no harm in taking a look at the lines and see what goes on. And if you're going to use Prize Picks, you could always deposit using the promo code Grinders. You get $100 free money with a deposit match, $100 deposit match. Deposit 100, they give you $100 for nothing. You have to play through it or something. You could do that there. Figure to talk about this again, since I'm not doing MMA tomorrow, and the slate is tonight, and there's nothing really going on. So kind of just show the process. Because we built lineups yesterday. Remember, we built yesterday. Of course, Bobby Dalbec has to hit 2 home runs. Why? Would have done so much better if that second home run didn't happen. I was doing great. Then 2 home. Jose Ramirez, 0 for 5. Thanks. I was like in second. I was in second in the 121. Like Nerdy Tenor was above me with the Dalbec home run. And then two home runs, I'm dead. 2 home runs next, and now I'm 30th or whatever the hell. Right? Because I had Cleveland. I had something together. I had a very good lineup in the single entry with the 2 best pitch with Castillo. I had Castillo and whoever, Scherzer. It was a good lineup. And of course the Dalbec home run. I mean, I end up losing money on the slate. Right? How does that work out? I was my green number was like 5,000, 6,000, whatever, because I had 5 lineups or whatever. Next thing you know, I'm down $200. Right on the sun, basically Dalbec's home run. Okay, so I'll be back on Tuesday. If you have any questions about any of this, you could always ask me at any time. Right? Even though I don't talk, you don't see me talking about sports betting much because it's mostly math. Right? When I talk about sports betting, you're going to see a lot of calculators and little, well, what do you bet? What is this equal to? Right? That type of stuff, and not like sports. But that's pretty much how you beat sports betting, right? It's more about math. Same thing about DFS, right? Right? You tune into this show. People tune in, what do you think about this guy? So I just know his projection is that. Right? Ohtani, 23.66, 51% ownership. Well, what do you think of him? I think of nothing of him. I don't think of him at all. Do you like him? I don't even know him. I don't know. Maybe he's a good guy. Maybe he's not a good guy. I don't know if I like him or not. I just go by the numbers, right? That's it. Go by the numbers. In the long run, you make money. Sounds good to me, right? I'm a numbers person. You know what I'd love to see numbers-wise? I'd like to see the numbers of thumb or thumbs go up. So increase those thummy thumbs on your way out the door. If you want to see me talk more about sports betting like games like this, or in general, and the theories, the logic behind it, the math behind it, just always let me know, right? Because I focus primarily on DFS, right? But every once in a while, people have been asking me about, can you talk about this? Can you talk about that site? Can you talk about this? And these little games and little sites like this, and betting here and betting there. So I want to at least do my part. It's the DFS pregame show. Technically, Prize Picks is a DFS site, technically, legally, right? And also, it's legal in more in states that you can't legally sports bet. So I figured to use this as an example of like how this is the mindset, how to think through everything, right? It's not just, do I think this is going to happen? What's the math behind it? How much of an edge do you need in order to beat this? So if you want to see more, you could always tweet me at BlenderHD or find me in the Blenders Game Theory channel in the RotoGrinders Discord. Sign up for RotoGrinders Premium, and you get access to that. I do private coaching calls, up to 4 times a month. So you could join in on that on Zoom. We don't even record them. You could say whatever the hell you want. So sign up there. Click on that link in the description. Get $10 off your first month. And yeah, so I'll see you back. See you back on Tuesday, answering your DFS strategy questions as I always do on the DFS pregame show on RotoGrinders.com.